It's Ironheart. Lockjaw. It's just all bricked cards. Did Leech win the game? Rogue flips the Punisher. Oh no. It's gonna come down to Ironheart. Yes! Welcome back, my friends. Today we are examining a deck that I think is the most flexible of any archetype in the entire game. We are playing a Mr. Negative deck. On reveal, swap the power and cost of all cards in your deck. This absolutely turns deck building on its head. What it will do is it will not affect the cards in hand. It will affect cards that are still in your deck. It will change the power and cost. So Iron Man will become a 0 cost, 5 power with the ability unchanged. He's a game-winning card in and of himself when he is inverted. Absolutely fantastic. Sunspot will stay the same at 1/1. Angela will be slightly improved at a 1 cost, 2 power, and so on and so forth. The deck lives and dies on being able to play Mr. Negative, so we are looking for ways to make it as consistent as possible to be able to play him, and then also be able to, once we have played him, draw as many of these negated cards as possible. So to be able to achieve that end, we have Jubilee to potentially thin Mr. Negative out of the deck if we have not happened to draw him. If we have been able to play him, then Jubilee will thin out one of the awesome cards that has now been flipped in our deck. We also have Magik to be able to extend the game length up to turn 7, just to give us a little bit more consistency on hitting our combos. For the rest of the list, you're looking for anything where the cost is higher than its power. You want all the negated versions of the cards, the inverted cards, to be incredibly efficient. And so you have a ton of different options. There's a lot of different popular variants that I have seen. This is the list that I have settled on. I'm going to tell you where my flex slots are and some potential pieces to be able to slot in. Let's go over this. We have Sunspot. Even though he's not benefiting from Mr. Negative explicitly, I really wanted something to round out the early turns, the energy curve. We have a lot of high cost cards here in hand. If we draw them naturally, we may have to wait a number of turns before we can start to play, so Sunspot helps us pad out those early turns, give us a little bit more tempo. Angela is also just a very efficient card. She benefits slightly from being inverted, so we love to run her here. Black Widow is one of our flex slots. She does benefit from being inverted. She's also an early game play that can potentially slow our opponent down, so I've been experimenting with running her. You could also run Wolfsbane is a good card to be able to slot in here. White Tiger is a popular one to be able to fit in as well, and Leader and Blue Marvel are ones that I see making their way into the Mr. Negative decks, but these are also going to be much higher on the energy curve than, say, Black Widow. Ironheart becoming a 0/3 when inverted is incredible. Otherwise, she's pretty nice to be able to spread out the buffs. You can potentially surprise your opponent with some extra burst of power to a location that they thought was full. Nakia is good both forwards and backwards. Being able to draw her and then play her on turn 3 to buff your hand is fantastic. Being able to play her later in the game as a 1/3 is also amazing, so we love seeing Nakia here. Rogue is a little bit of counter tech control on our opponent. On reveal, steal an ongoing ability from a random enemy card at this location. There's a number of pretty powerful ongoing effects that are very popular at the moment. We're looking at Khazar, we're looking at Iron Man. If we can steal those away, we're going to benefit quite a lot. Jubilee, we've already talked about, fantastic for thinning out the deck, making our combos more consistent. Shang-Chi is another one of the flex slots. I'm trying to count how many games he actually has a good target to be able to destroy. When he does, he's incredibly pivotal, but there's plenty of games where he doesn't. So he's one of those slots where you could flex in, say, the White Tiger. White Tiger is a very popular one. Then we have Mr. Negative, Iron Man we've already talked about, Magik we've already covered. Finally, we have Leech, also control tech against our opponent. Remove the abilities from all cards in your opponent's hand. You can brick so many hands out of your opponent. Frankly, I'm happy to play him as a 5 cost on turn 5, especially if I have Magik to extend the length of the game so that then they have to deal with these bricked cards even longer. This deck really does come together. Jubilee, Iron Man, Ironheart, Murder World flips, Rogue comes up. It's a rough hand. It's a rough hand. We'll see what we draw into. I'm not excited to play any of these on turn 3, and I'm not excited to play anything on turn 4. So, thankfully our opponent doesn't have a play either. We're not losing tempo. Bifrost comes up. Angela, thank you. That's at least playable. Ironheart feels kind of sad, but it might be the best that we can do. What's the hub going to give us? Okay, so now we actually have a bunch of options. What would I like to do? I could play Sunspot. I could play Mr. Sinister, comboed with Sunspot. I don't really like the idea of completely clogging up the lane by turn 3. The opponent will know exactly what it takes to beat us, though we can always feed a little bit of extra power in to the Sunspot. But it's usually a better decision just to keep your opponent guessing. We'll sit on the Mr. Sinister. Nakia buffs their hand for them. What are they up to? Because they got the card from the hub, yeah, they have a full hand of 6 cards. We get Magik. This is good. We can play Jubilee on left. Jubilee to Murder World. Try and pull out Mr. Negative. We get that Mr. Negative. This is why we play Jubilee. They have it as well. We'll give our opponent a little thumbs up. Okay. If they also have Mr. Negative, this means that Rogue is going to be... Rogue and Leech are absolutely going to be the difference makers here. We also can expect them to have a Leech. Maybe. Maybe they will have a Leech as well. I still don't know about Mr. Sinister. Sure. I'll play him. I don't know, because you could have just put 2 more energy onto Sunspot. We Leech? I swear, if they Leech me, this is going to be the strangest... Okay, they Jubilee. They Jubilee and pull the Punisher. You're playing the Punisher? I guess? Yeah, sure. It's not bad. How happy are we with how things have come out? Honestly, fairly happy. I could play Rogue to be able to turn off the Punisher. And then be able to get the bonus strength herself. And then right behind that play Ironheart to distribute a number of buffs. The thing is, I would normally want to play Magik here. But that just gives him an extra turn to draw the super cards that he wants. So I think we try and end it here. Why are you snapping? Do you have the Super Iron Man? You probably have the Super Iron Man. You're going to be able to play Iron Man for free. Okay. Hang on. We can fix this. Undo all actions. Play Magik. Extend the game length. Hit him with Black Widow. End turn. Sorry, I clicked on Murder World there. We'll flip it to Limbo. What did they have? Were we suckered in as the opponent out-mind gamed us? You have Devil Dino, which was bricked. You have White Tiger, which is going to spit out the Tiger's Spirit. You have the Collector also bricked and Wolfsbane also bricked. Okay. I'm very glad that we played Magik because we would have lost. It does mean that our opponent had yet another opportunity to draw the Iron Man. But I think we just need to be able to play Rogue. Nakia? Ironheart. For some extra random buffs. Do I want to snap against him? That is a great question. He still has 4 cards in hand, and he drew 1 out of his deck. He has 2 cards left in deck. I only have 1. That's because I was able to play Jubilee and thin out. So very low odds that you don't have your Super Iron Man. I'm not going to snap, because that still scares me. It's Ironheart. Lockjaw. It's just all bricked cards? Did Leech win the game? Rogue flips the Punisher. Oh no. It's gonna come down to Ironheart. Yes! Oh, what a mirror match. That's why you play Leech, guys. All these little exclamation points, that's why you play Leech. Black Widow, Nakia, Rogue. So we don't have Mr. Negative yet. Hopefully we can draw into him. Jubilee will give us an extra opportunity to pull him out if we don't draw him. And here's just looking like we play Black Widow, then Nakia. Hold Rogue to be able to see if we can snipe something. Hang on, did you just create? Yes, Agent 13 just created the cat. Play Black Widow. Hopefully our opponent is not running anything with discard synergies, otherwise that'd be amazing. They play Forge. Interesting. Most likely it's going to be a Mr. Sinister. That's my guess. Maybe a Brood. Central Park. Throws out all the squirrels. We'll play Nakia here. I really hate how Central Park can gum up all your spaces to be able to play. Oh. Interesting. Oh no, you played the Leech against me? Morph hit Leech and turns off every one of our cards. That is so bad for us. Okay. Well, I mean, Rogue at 3-5 is the best stat line. Let's play her to Central Park, and then Sunspot at 1-3 also is the only actually playable stat line. I would have loved to play Rogue to steal the Khazar buff my own squirrels. That's not to be. No targets for Shang-Chi, so we just play Ironheart here, distribute some buffs. What could we potentially draw that saves us here? Be an Iron Man? Maybe? Maybe it's Iron Man? They play Ant-Man. Yet another good target for Rogue. Rogue is certainly proving that she deserves more of a space. Magik? Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. We will play Magik to the Wakandan Embassy. Get another turn out of this. They play their Shang-Chi and their Squirrel Girl. So they can't play a single card now. This is why Magik is amazing. Because if you just keep on extending the game, you'll be able to get to a point where you can guarantee that you win if your opponent is paced out to fill up all their locations. Or if, something like Central Park happens and they're stuck with 2 lame squirrels. We'll drop the Iron Man. Take it home. That Leech hurt. It hurt a lot. And we didn't draw Mr. Negative, but we still were able to push through with Magik and with Iron Man. Leech, Angela, Black Widow. Let's see what we're able to make of this. Tinkerer's Workshop, jumping us up to be able to play these 2 costs. That's very fun. We did get Sunspot. I think that we still want to jump up to the 2 costs and hold Sunspot. Sunspot's only good if he's able to absorb, soak up some of that extra energy. And if we're going to be able to play both of these, he's not missing out on anything. The Bifrost's going to shift things over. We'll play Black Widow. Love to see Mr. Negative coming into hand, especially because we have not drawn Iron Man yet, which means we have the chance of getting the Super Iron Man, the Superman, as it were, if we do a little bit of a DC crossover. I would like to be able to win Asgard. Let's see if we can put the pressure on. They have Kraven Hood. Are they playing Kraven just because of Bifrost? They're playing Kingpin as well. Okay. Now this is clever on the part of my opponent. I'll give him the thumbs up here. The Bifrost is going to shift in. Hood will destroy himself alongside the Widow's Bite, which he doesn't care for. Thankfully, all of my other cards are spared destruction. I also wonder if Kraven will get buffed. I assume that he will. We'll have to see how this runs. I've never seen this combination before. So the Hood comes over. So does the Widow's Bite. All the other cards shift. Then Does Craven get buffed, or do they just get destroyed? There, he stomps on them. He stomps on each one individually. Okay, so we get to watch the whole animation. Sure, sure. And then Craven does not get buffed. Ah, Craven is a sad man. I thought the whole point there was that Craven would get buffed as well, but I guess not. When a card moves here, next turn destroy cards that move here. So he destroys them before Craven gets the buff. Well, you live and you learn. Let's play Leech. Leech should mess him up. He's got Wave for a little bit of control. 2 cards in hand. He plays Magneto. That's going to pull us out of Asgard. I didn't really want to go up against Magneto, but I suppose we will do battle. Mr. Negative and Nakia up against Magneto. Who wins in the true lore? Let me know in the comments. Let's see. I think... Do we want to play Magik? That's the main question is, do we want to play Magik? Because I could just play like so and like so. And then... Oh, yeah. We just play Shang-Chi that kills Magneto. Hang on. Undo all actions. I forgot about Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi kills Magneto. Puts us up significantly. Iron Man goes over here. He's free. We don't need to play Magik. And then we have Jubilee. Sure, right here. Why not? And then it's either Rogue or Sunspot. They flip first. So there's a chance that Rogue actually hits something to be able to ping. We then snap and end turn. I love it. The opponent's deck, I have to say, very creative. No, they retreated. Oh, what a setup for us. Man, I love it. Onslaught Citadel. We love that for if we draw into Iron Man. Then we've got the upper end of our curve in terms of energy, but that's all right. Central Park. Okay. And then we get Black Widow. Let's go ahead and play Black Widow on Central. Try and give them a little spider bite. Continue to clog up their board space. Especially if we can play Magik and keep really efficient cards on our side, we might be able to outrun them. Or make them really feel the pinch, I mean, of having little squirrels. But they played the hood, so I have to assume they have a way to be able to deal with that. Have to assume. Let's play Sunspot to Monster Metropolis. He's going to become the biggest card there. There's the Widow's Bite. There it is. Killmonger is going to kill all the little guys. Why did you want to play Killmonger? I think that was good for us. It was kind of crazy, but I think that it was good for us. Let's play Mr. Negative over here. Be able to invert the deck. Leech got stuck up to a 6 energy. He's only got 2 cards in hand. Oh, you got that demon. The demon's going to be bigger than me. That's crazy. It's a 1 cost. 1 cost is way bigger than I am. Let's play Jubilee and just see what happens, I suppose. Holding on to Rogue. Not necessarily wanting to commit to Magik yet. They play Wave. Alright, so they're setting up for trying to limit me on the final turn here. But we pull... Oh my gosh. We pull the Iron Man. He's a 24 strength to the location with this combo. And that's all that is there. But we say that, and do we win? If I just don't play any cards, Sunspot goes up to a 10 strength. Yes, 10 strength, and then he'll get the +3 from Monster Metropolis, which would mean that we're winning quite handily. I have to believe that this is going to give us the win, but I have no idea what my opponent is planning on playing with Wave having empowered it. It's probably Death plus something else. With how many cards Killmonger destroyed, Death has to be nearly free. So I think I actually do want to play Magik and see what the opponent has. There's the Death. and Dr. Doom? Oh, that's disgusting. Okay, but we're very glad that we played Magik rather than taking the gambit of Sunspot being able to win. Yeah, that wasn't gonna work. Okay. So, Demon is at 6. Death is at 15. Well, what if Death, I killed Death. Shang-Chi versus Death. Guys, we're getting all the best comic book battles here. I love it. Shang-Chi versus Death knocks them down 15 points to be at 14. And then, well, they would maintain the +3 for Monster Metropolis, going to the Demon instead. It's probably better to play Angela first and then Shang-Chi. And then we go Rogue to Onslaught Citadel in case they play anything that she can snipe. And then we play Ironheart. It really doesn't matter at all. And I'm going to snap. This was a great game. Yeah. They knew they didn't have it. Let's go. There's the deck in all of its glory. It really does, like I said at the very beginning, live and die on being able to get Mr. Negative out. But I think that we have enough mitigating tools to improve its consistency and then make sure that if you do play him, you're going to be able to win by using Magik, Jubilee to continue to thin out your deck and play all of those super powerful inverted cards. It's just so much fun to be able to play. It changes so much every single game because you don't know if you're going to be playing the base version of a card or if you're going to be playing the inverted version of a card. So your energy curve is always different. Planning out all of those late game turns takes so many different pieces that the deck feels fresh every single game, even if you've been slamming them over and over and over again. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, how you guys would optimize this list. Obviously, as you continue to collect into Pool 3, there becomes a ton of different options that you can utilize. So I'm curious to see what you guys are having success with. Until next time, thank you guys for watching and have a good one.